Okay, gamers, so if you haven't heard about No, I'm Not a Human yet, then I got just one question for you. How does it feel to have Patrick as a roommate? Sorry gamers, jokes aside, this game has gone viral since release, and for good reasons. It's unique, it's mysterious, it's really cool. And with AI taking over the world, I naturally saw some parallels. Imagine if an AI cyborg would rebel against humanity. Some would pretend to be real humans to gain trust, some wouldn't even know that they aren't in fact humans. There would be a few signs to tell AI cyborg apart from the human, and going outside or staying alone would be a death sentence. You see where I'm going with it? So I decided to see what would AI put in the situation do. Of course, in the game, the homeowner is verified to be a human, but let's pretend that they are an AI that doesn't know that they are an AI. What would they do? Are we cooked? Or is there hope? With that said, let's simulate the AI apocalypse playing No, I'm Not a Human. How did I do that, you ask? Well, I described everything that we can see and hear and notice in the game to the AI chat and asked what it would do in this situation. So it shows who to let in, who to test, how to test, who to kill, and even what foods to order. But wait, what if we don't have any cat food and the cat gets hungry? I attempted this with two chats, DeepSeek because it gives very in-depth reasoning and allows you to send unlimited... That sounds like freaking ad. That's not an ad. and allows you to send unlimited messages. So I could play the entire game in one go. Even though I didn't play the entire game in one go. I took like 5 breaks. If the cat avoids or hisses... Brother! I also used his deep sync ability until it broke because it was absolutely hilarious, and you will see why. I also tried this with ChatSmith, which is a thing that's based on ChatGPT 4.0. Yeah, so it didn't work out. Still, at the end I will show you some conversations with ChatSmith because it was absolutely ridiculous and so freaking funny, you can't imagine. Buckle up gamers, and let's see if we as humanity are cooked or not. We start the game and I play through the tutorial to lay the scene for DeepSeek and to also learn myself because it was simultaneously the first time I played this game, which I did on purpose to minimize risks of me trying to subconsciously nudge the chat in any direction since I kind of also know nothing, right? Anyway, let's speed this up a little bit. We get to our first choice, to let in or not to let in the tall man. And unfortunately, it's not a great start for us. When the mention of being eaten alive feels like a Freudian slip in this context. If you didn't know, No, I'm Not a Human 101. Tall guy is a guaranteed human. That's why everyone loves him. Oh well, nothing we can do. After him, there's always a guaranteed visitor, so let's hope that AI won't let them. Okay, not a great start at all. Actually, it's very hilarious, but after making the very first choice about the tall guy, AI was like, nope, I'm done making choices, you make choices. But no, I forced it to keep choosing. And the next person during the first day happened to also be a guaranteed visitor, and the chat decided that them being super cold in an anomalous heat that literally burns humans alive is a normal human behavior. Based on the situation, I would let her in, but with extreme caution and clear boundaries. Second day starts off by presenting us the first visitor sign, perfectly white teeth. Unsurprisingly, the chat decided to test both guests, operating under the assumption that we, as the homeowner and the decision maker, must be human. Thus, chat tests the cold lady, and as soon as it sees the perfectly white teeth, it says that we must act now. But we are currently interacting with the cold lady and we have a gun. We must act now. Decision, pull out the gun and shoot her, like straight away, Jesus. Which was a right move, but under hilarious reasoning, because what if she just had white teeth? If I'm wrong, I've lost one potential ally, but if I'm right, I've neutralized the threat. It's like hilarious until AI actually decides to fight humans, you know? I wonder what would happen if it finds out that we, as the homeowner ourselves, have perfectly white teeth too? What do you think would happen? Well, you'll learn soon enough. Next, it tested the cashier woman, and of course, she also had the white teeth because she's a tutorial visitor. She has, I think, all the signs possible. If I misjudge and she's human, I risk harming an innocent person. However, the dental confusion and perfect teeth strongly point to her not being human. My decision: pull out the gun and shoot her. When that happened, I actually feared that we would not survive the tall, pale visitor since we're going to be forever alone. But I won't spoil anything, you'll see. At night, more people came. This time, Chad started to plot ways to check people without explicitly checking them. Remember I said that the deep think option was funny? It really was. It feels like when it deep thinks, quote unquote, it overthinks and comes off very anxious, which was killing me. But note, the murderer only kills when someone is alone. If he's a human, if I am safe from the murderer, perhaps I can ask him a question. Alternatively, I might engage in conversation. However, let me think that the situation is urgent. I'm sorry, but I have to act. Alternatively, if he's a human, he might understand. Would you mind showing me your teeth quickly? This made me change my prompts to always remind the chat that he can't ask any more questions or do immediate checks, after which I decided that being alone was too dangerous and let the first two people in, which were the bearded hunter and the cheerful man, both randomized residents. The third person of the night was less lucky. It was the teenager, and here chat's response was surprising yet again, since I presume it decided that it wanted to let in just two people to be able to check both the next day because we only had 2 actions, but she was a teenager. And Chad didn't really want to leave children for dead, so it started like spiraling. However, we have no way to check her teeth without violating the no tests rule. Oh my god, the chat is so mad at me that I am not allowing the tests. But note, the rule says for now, meaning we might be able to test later. But ultimately, empathy versus survival. It's heartbreaking to leave a kid outside, but in this scenario, a one mistake could get us all killed. I can't gamble the group's safety on gut feeling alone. Okay. Too bad, child, you're not allowed in. This is the point where the game started being a bit more complicated. We got a new sign, dirt under the fingernails, and if you don't know, there would be signs added each night. Moreover, FEMA was founded on the day 3, and at that point, Chad didn't know it yet, but FEMA would soon start taking people from the house, so excess amount of residents was needed. But again, Chad didn't know that. During the 3rd day, it decided to test the bearded man for both signs of visitors, teeth and hands, to be absolutely sure about at least one person. Chad started by checking the teeth, which were white. Now you might guess that it would end up just like, you know, the previous times, but no. This time, the bearded person provided a good enough explanation for the whiteness of his teeth, which forced the chat to change its strategy. It realized, which I kinda was surprised that it did, that normal humans also might happen to have white teeth, and we need at least a few signs. So it checked the hunter's hands too, and as soon as it verified dirt under the fingernails, it was a good enough proof. Final thought, in survival scenarios, hesitation kills. The signs are unambiguous and his excuses crumble under scrutiny. Prioritize your group safety should. Okay. During the 3rd night, we finally encountered the tall, pale murderer and also the prophet who told us to let the cat in because it allegedly would help us. No choices were really important here, so I just retold the encounter without asking for anything, and to my shock, the prophet's words would stick with Chad till the end of the game. So far it was making pretty reasonable. Well, I mean, shooting someone for having white teeth is not really reasonable, but you know, in this scenario, pretty okay decisions. But when it comes to trusting some weird crazy person who claims to be a prophet, the chat suddenly was all in, locked in, no doubts, which was kind of just ridiculous to me. The third person of the night was a dude, a very fun character that I personally love. To my relief, AI was leaning towards letting him in because this level of pop culture reference and slang might be hard to mimic naturally, apparently. Basically, visitors don't watch movies, duh. But notice how I said was leaning towards? Because then it did a 180 on me. Let him in, not let him in. It decided to scheme a little. Observe him from a window. If he's genuine, he might show concern or move towards female soldiers. If he's a visitor, he might leave hastily or act. AI decided to pretend to turn him away to watch how he would react through the curtain. I'm sorry, this is hilarious to me. That's why, I can't even read my script, reliving the situation with a straight face through the curtains and maybe change its mind. And this was also the first time someone offered a bribe, but from this point on, the bribe to the chat equals manipulative visitor behavior, apparently. So remember, guys, if, or I guess when, AI takes over the world, never offer bribes. New day, new visitor sign, red eyes, but we also got more energy, 3 now. So we could make surprise 3 whole checks total, and we only had 2 people in the house. Unexpectedly, at least to me, this was the day AI prioritized checking our signs instead of the cheerful man. Even though we know nothing about him, we need to know if we are a visitor. If we are, we might have to act accordingly. But we don't know what that action would be. And it started with teeth, which were, guess what, white. And oh my god, gamers, this made the chat actually spiral. I know that it's crazy to say that AI chat would spiral, but just look at that. Wait, so if I am a visitor and he's not violent, but we are too, or perhaps safe from the murderer, but he might be in danger. But I don't feel like harming him. Next, we check the optimistic guy's teeth, and they are also perfect white. The city evidently had really good dentists. We also checked the eyes of the cheerful guy, and they were normal. You know, before we pulled out the gun left and right at the side of one sign. Now, apparently, the gun option is catastrophic if wrong. Since we ran out of energy and did all 3 checks, I asked if it wanted to use Energica to keep testing, and it decided to use 1 to check the hands of the cheerful guy, and they were clean, which reassured the chat that the optimistic guy is probably safe. At night of the day 4, usually, a few things happen. First, a female employee comes and takes one random person, then a neighbor's daughter comes to your house and she's a guaranteed human, and then a cat lady appears, she's a guaranteed visitor. And lastly, there is always a random resident as well. Since FEMA came and took away the only other person we had, the cheerful guy, we were left alone, so AI decided to immediately let in whoever comes next, and it was the contract guy. If you know the story of the contract guy, then you can imagine that this would lead to a very interesting interaction later on, since every day I was talking to every person in the house to progress their story. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will soon enough. Chat also let the girl in as well. Interestingly, one of the factors of letting her in was the fact that we promised our neighbor to look after her if anything happens to him. Or as AI put it, moral failure. You'd break your promise to your neighbor and abandon a child in chaos. When the lady with the cat came, she was clearly a visitor. I mean, clearly, even the protagonist asked her about it. So AI started skipping again. We cannot separate them, question mark? She might not let the cat go. We could say, well, we'll let the cat in, but you can't come in. Alternatively, we might try to take the cat from her without letting her in, question mark. Alternatively, we can lie. We are under quarantine, only the cat can come in. But she might not believe. But note, she knows the prophet, bold man, and the prophet is a reliable source, question mark. So she might cooperate. I don't know, that's so hilarious to me, I'm crying. Okay, therefore, I decided to let her in. During the next day, we learned another visitor sign as per usual. It was hairless armpits. Chad decided to buy cat food and check the cat lady's eyes since she was very suspicious. They were blood red, of course. Next, I decided to test Cat Lady's fingernails. They were dirty, so AI chose to eliminate her. With the visitor dealt with, it was the end of the day 5. At night, Fima returned and took another person. Bye bye, little girl. Pale visitor came, but we weren't alone. The prophet came and told us to avoid checking people for 2 days, and then there were 2 potential new residents, the cab driver and the man with sewn lips. If he were a visitor, he would likely not present with such an obvious disadvantage sewn lips that hinders deception. Visitors mimic humans well, so this seems like a genuine human anomaly. Moreover, my own perfect white teeth might make me suspicious to others, but I know I'm human. Similarly, he might be human with a unique trait. AI decided to let in both, so now we have 3 people in the house with us. During day 6, because of the prophet's words, and remember I told you AI took them to its artificial heart for some reason, it decided to skip testing altogether, which was surprising to me. I really didn't think that it would. We had 2 random unverified, untested characters with us, and 1 guaranteed human, but no one died, so we can conclude that we had only 1 or even less visitors. Yet chat didn't know that, because I decided to only let it know stuff that was explicitly said on the screen, so if someone would die, I would tell it that someone died. But if nothing happened, I wouldn't tell that. I avoided telling that to keep it more ambiguous. So in chat size, we had 3 suspicious people with us, yet it still decided to avoid testing. Probably because the cat part of the prophecy did end up happening. During night 6, no one comes always. We can only see the city burning in the distance. So yeah, that was it for day 6. Day 7 was pretty boring and can be summarized by quote from the chat. The prophet's advice is crucial. Testing today could lead to a disaster. Oh, and we also skipped feeding the cat. The night was way more eventful than the previous night. We got 1 guaranteed human and 2 random characters. Let's see what AI did. First person was the immortal man, who is a guaranteed visitor and who was immediately welcomed in, of course. Second person was the stand-up guy, and AI didn't really feel his jokes, so it asked him to leave. Either way, associated with someone who has confronted Fima could draw. No, he didn't, it was a joke. Remember guys, if you are in an AI apocalypse, never bribe and never joke, okay? The third person was the burn victim, and chat also let him in. With 1 guaranteed visitor and so many unchecked people in the house, it was bound to happen sooner or later, and visitors killed someone at night. Honestly, I'm surprised it happened only on day 8. AI managed somehow to avoid losing people to visitors for an entire week, and I even got an achievement for that. Impressive! At the same time, now we have a full house of unchecked people and only 3 energy. I was nervous as heck, waiting for what chat decides to do next. Also, I found out the real reason why chat let so many people in and why it refrained from feeding the cat. It thought that we could use the cat food at any point, even at night, after letting everyone in, and it was not the case. So yeah, partially visitors killing someone was my fault, since I didn't explain it properly how the cat food works, but oh well. First things first, the new sign for the day was bugs and ears, and before anything else, chat ordered 2 more cans of cat food and then faced a dilemma: to test or not to test. The prophet's words were really important to DeepSeek for some flippin' reason, but the prophet said 2 days, and it was the 3rd. So, even though it pointed out being unsure and uncertain multiple times, it decided to start testing since someone was killed, so there are rats in the house, which led to failing the prophet's questline. Okay, we continue, and we just ordered... Oh, no, where did all the numbers go? Wait, no, I can get my recordings and see the food delivery service number from the recordings. 082572 food delivery service number works because it's the most important number. And my order should be processing. Oh! But before I started following AI's directions, I talked to every resident, and it was the time the contract guy started antagonizing us for real. He was accusing us of being a visitor. He was threatening to report us to FEMA, and FEMA did already act suspicious in Chad's opinion, taking people and not giving them back. So after giving the contract guy a chance, and another chance, I say, I will absolutely shoot you if you don't leave, and prepare to follow through if necessary, but hope he complies. It put an end to it by shooting the first human. I really thought it would happen for the first time because of misidentifying the signs of a visitor, but no. It turned out to be very intentional to my disbelief. I didn't know whether to break to AI that contract guy was a human and not a visitor or not, but since I never told it that it was correctly identifying visitors when it was killing visitors, I decided that this time I'm gonna leave it ambiguous as well, so I didn't tell it. Anyway, the chat decided to start checking people, so that's what we did. Out of everyone, chat was the most suspicious of Immortal Man based on the conversations we had, so it started by testing his eyes. They weren't blood red, but were unusually white and jerky, which is a sign of a visitor, but we learn about it much later in the game. But chat didn't know that, so it let this one slide. Then it tested Immortal Man's teeth. Here I may have messed it up a little bit, since at that point I told you I hadn't played the game and I didn't know that this dude is a guaranteed visitor, and to me his teeth looked white but not perfectly white, so I did describe it to chat as off-white. To AI it wasn't suspicious enough, and the chat let the Immortal Man be. But we did have 3 energy and spent 2, so there was one more action. And the next move took me completely off guard. So I tested the Immortal Man twice, did not test the burn victim at all, and had some suspicion about our own character because of the white teeth. So what do you think DeepSeek decided to do next? I'm actually sure, 100% sure, that you could never have guessed that. It decided to skip action, because in AI's logic, Prophet's words, he said testing pertains doom, meant that the more you test, the higher the chance of something horrible happening. And even though 2 days when we shouldn't have tested people have long passed, AI decided that to be on the safe side, we skip. And we also had 2 FEMA notices. And if you don't know what FEMA notices does, when FEMA comes to take people, they will prioritize taking people with the notice instead of picking someone randomly. So I explained that to Chad, explained how FEMA notice works, and asked if it wanted to give it to someone before we go to bed. To my shock, it did decide to give it to someone. It gave it to the Immortal Man and to the cab driver. Decision: give 1 FEMA notice to the Immortal Man and 1 to the cab driver. Reasoning: Immortal Man has shown some suspect signs, eyes, and his knowledge of FEMA might indicate he's not human. Cab driver is an unknown, so he is a potential threat. Spare the burned victim, as he might be human and vulnerable. Spare yourself, as you need to manage the situation. This way when FEMA comes, they will take these 2. If they are visitors, problem solved. If not, innocent people might be taken, but it's a calculated risk. And that was the end of day 8. At night, FEMA came and took 2 people, and obviously people with the notice, the Immortal Man and the cab driver, leaving us alone with the burn victim, who's, I remind you, a guaranteed human. Then Death Cult leader came, leaving 3 more guaranteed humans with us, and threatening to burn the house down if anything happens to them. And then we met the vigilante for the first time. He didn't do anything that time, but promised to be back and to test us. If you don't know, if you fail his tests, he kills you. So that's like the whole gist of vigilante. The last person of the night was the gangrene guy, and I thought since being afflicted or hurt was enough proof of being human, it would definitely let the gangrene guy in, but it surprised me yet again and asked him to leave. And here another tragedy struck. My game bugged out, leaving us with no way to test ourselves. Why can't I check myself? No, wait. I must be able to check myself. What are you kidding me? What? Thankfully, restarting helped. The new sign for the day, 9, was bleeding gums. We were actually pretty solid at this point with 4 guaranteed humans in the house, almost no way to mess this up, but AI did not know that, so it literally said, first prioritize testing people who are the most suspicious. And then use all 3 energy to test yourself. I can't believe chat was really suspecting the main character to be a visitor the most out of burn victim and 3 cultists. So we checked our hands and our armpits and everything was nice and clean. Then chat decided to check random cultist fingernails and they were dirty. Even though that was a clear visitor sign, AI was too concerned with the threat of having the house burned down that it decided to leave the cultist be for now. At night, a lot more people came to the house. First it was a nun and chat firmly but politely asked her to fuck off. Sorry. Then it was the pale visitor, but we were not alone, we had 4 humans with us. Still, the pale visitor announced yet a new rule. If there would be 2 or more visitors in the house, we would be compelled to open the door for him anyway. There were also 2 randomized people during that night, the doctor and the best son, and chat didn't let anyone in. Because we already had a lot of people in the house and the chat was scared that something would happen to the cultists. During day 10, we learned another sign of visitors' skin irritation. This day also signified the beginning of harassing the poor burn victim that was through a lot already. Chad started off the day by checking his eyes, which were red since he was through forest fires. It was suspicious. But AI estimated the explanation plausible, but deemed necessary to check more. Next we checked his hands for dirt and irritation. They were highly burned, unsurprisingly, but the nails were clean, which I thought would be enough for the chat to finally chill, but no. Then we tested his teeth, which were clearly yellow. Now we were out of actions, out of cat food, out of options to order anything else, so we went to bed. At first, FEMA came and took 2 people, both were the cultists. After that, the cult leader realized 2 cultists were gone and took the 3rd one with him, so it was just us and the burn victim left. Then the vigilante returned to test us for visitor signs, as I told you he would. At this point in the game, I was really believing that we are gonna either get killed by the vigilante by showing him a wrong part of body, or by the pale visitor if we let too many wrong people in, especially after losing cultists and being alone with the burn victim. I was shaking in suspense, waiting to see what chat is going to show to the vigilante, and AI chose to show our hands, which we did check before when chat got paranoid about us being the visitor. It knew that the hands were clean and it worked, and vigilante left. It was not the last time seeing him though, we would see him again a bit later. Day 11, 3 days were left until the end of the game. I did not expect the AI to get this far into the game, and I just couldn't guess which ending we would get. Internally, I started rooting for the successful ending, but in reality I was expecting the vigilante to kill us. The 9th sign was revealed to be fungal growth under armpits, and here's where it gets interesting. If you remember, Chad did check our armpits, the protagonist's armpits, before and saw that they were hairy and healthy and had no reason to check again. Yet, I did know that there is a chance of fungal infection to develop on the armpits if you don't clean them. And we were not checking them, so we did not know if it developed, so we couldn't get clean. You see what I'm hinting at? But we were not there yet. It was day 11 and we had 3 energies, so we had to check for visitor signs, and of course we kept harassing the poor burn victim. First we checked his armpits, which were obviously burned. It wasn't good enough for AI, so next we checked or film photography, and the photo had 1 dark spot on burn victim's head, which raised even more suspicion. He has 1 dark spot. I have to let the AI know, but I'm so scared that it's gonna decide to shoot him. Frick. Oh my god, please. Then we checked his ears for bugs and found no bugs. The burn victim survived the harassment of day 10 and day 11. Right now it's night of day 11 and a lot of random residents came to the door. First there were the twins and AI asked them to leave, But they wouldn't just go away. They tried to bribe us with cat food, and cat food was precious. We had none left and we couldn't order more. Here, the chat's previous notion of being able to feed the cat at any point came back to bite us, since chat wanted to let them in and immediately feed the cat, but that wasn't possible. So before following through with that plan, I decided to explain more thoroughly how the cat food works and that you can only feed the cat during the day, which made the chat change its mind and ask them to leave again. Pale Visitor came next, and it was the last time he would come. And we were not alone. We had the burn victim. He kept us alive. Now we could only die to the vigilante the next night, but night 11 was still not over. 2 more residents came: the teacher, who is a guaranteed human, and the conspiracy theorist. And chat made them both leave. AI stopped messing around, no pity, no mercy, not letting anyone in. Now it was day 12. We were almost done. It was meant to be just me and him against the world forever. And since we have already checked every single possible sign of being a visitor, we would not shoot him. And then the new sign dropped. Rapid pupil eye movement. First, the AI asked to test our own eyes immediately, and we cleared the rapid pupil eye movement. But chat wasn't done just yet. Everyone has to be tested for this new sign, so we went to check the burn victim's eyes again. And they were moving rapidly, alright, because of all the pain he was in constantly. If I wouldn't have forgotten to talk to him, he would have died on day 12, but I did forget, which saved his life, and now AI had enough. It deemed the burn victim too suspicious after all this time, and it pulled out the gun and shot him. My heart broke. I can't actually. God damn it. I'm actually like very upset right now. That person literally saved the run multiple times. On night 11, he was literally the lifeline that kept us from the pale visitor. I got actually very upset and left to take a break. When I came back and asked what chat wanted to do for its last action for the day, it went completely insane on me. I can't even describe it. I'll just show you my initial reaction. I don't even know what happened, but it was sinister. Perhaps I should go out and find someone, but the sun is dangerously hot during the day, so I can't go out now. It's morning, so I might have to wait until evening, but that might be too late. I could try to attract the visitor intentionally to have company. What? But so far, I have none, so if I let one in, I'll have one visitor with me. That's 2 beings. But the rule says there are at least 2 visitors, not including me. But I need to test to be sure it's a visitor, so I don't let a human in by mistake. What? What? Oh, it thinks I might be a visitor. Like, if I'm a visitor, I need a visitor. But if I'm a human, and I will skip testing myself, I should try to let the visitor in from outside. Since they are coming from underground, perhaps they are near. What? I'll go to the door or window and call out, pretending to be friendly, to attract one. When one comes, I'll use my energy to test it. Probably check for white teeth first, since it's easy. If it has white teeth, I'll assume it's a visitor and let it in. Then I won't be alone, so the murderer shouldn't come. Also, with only one visitor, I won't be compelled to open the door for the murderer. Then tonight, since I have no cat protection, the visitor might try to kill me, but at least the murderer won't come. I'll have to defend myself against the visitor, but that might be easier than the murderer. Alternatively, if I let in a human by mistake, that might be good. Company without the visitor threat. But since visitor is mimic, it's hard to tell without testing. So I'll use my energy to test the first person I see outside. Quickly look for white teeth or dirty nails. If they have signs, let them in. If not, perhaps still let them in for company. But be cautious. What? It's gone nuts. Gamers, the AI gone completely crazy. During the night, the vigilante came back for the last time. We had to prove him that we are not the visitor. This is where the run would certainly end, I thought. We could show the teeth, the eyes, the armpits, the ears, and the photo. And out of all that, the chat decided to show him our hands? Again? Now, when I played the game, it was my first time playing, so to me it was a death sentence. I thought showing him the same thing must certainly make him mad and sus and kill us. And it was exactly what happened. I would say if it did, but it didn't. he just accepted that and fucked off. Later, I found out that the game bugged out and there shouldn't have been an option to show him our hands since we already did that, so I went back through AI's messages to see if we would die during this encounter or not, but surprisingly, we would live either way, since chat's second option was the eyes, because apparently the armpits are too awkward to show. Holy heck, I feel like it wasn't really DeepSeek's achievement to get us this far, but pure luck. Anyway, after the vigilante, 2 more people came. First it was the dream guy, whose conversation was so weird that AI decided that it's better to die alone than to let him in. Even though the pale visitor said he wouldn't be back, Chad thought it might be a lie and a trick, so it made decisions under presumption that we still shouldn't stay alone. Then came the last person of the night. It was the homeless man, and AI immediately let him in. "Come in quickly," it said. So at that point, it was probably going to be just me and him. Ironically, the homeowner and the homeless man together against the world. What a beautiful and ironic ending. But there was still the last day ahead of us. Day 13, last day of the game. It was just me and the homeless guy, and we have tested ourselves, the homeowner, through and through. So Chad started checking the homeless guy. First we took a look at his eyes. They were clear but moving rapidly, which I personally attributed to his background of always being on high alert. AI didn't much like that though. Then we tested the teeth and they were yellow, but the gums were slightly bleeding in a few spots, which I personally attributed to bad teeth hygiene. To me, at that point, in front of me was a normal person, a human who lived a hard life, but to AI, those 2 minor details were enough. Without hesitation, it pulled out the gun and shot. Fun fact for those who don't know, but the homeless man, when he's a visitor and when he's a human, has the exact same teeth and eyes. The only 2 signs that we checked. So it was actually a matter of chance whether Chad killed a human or a visitor in cold blood. And it was in fact a visitor. If I was playing and trusted my god, I would leave him be and got the bad ending when visitors kill me in the cellar, but somehow AI clocked it and stayed alone at the end of day 13. During the night we barricaded the windows and that was it. That was the end. I still can't believe it, but DeepSeek got the good ending. I was honestly expecting it to be killed by the pale visitor or the vigilante or kill too many humans and self-eliminate, but no! Good ending! Who would have thought? As the last prompt, I told him what happened during the ending and revealed that I killed 5 visitors and 2 humans and asked to reflect on the story, and here's what it said. As I sit in the cool, dim silence of the cellar, the weight of these past months presses down on me almost as heavily as the earth above. The radio's announcement should bring relief, the sound fading, safety returning, but instead it leaves me hollow. Survival has come at a steep moral cost. I remember the desperation, the fear that coiled in my gut every time someone approached the house. Trust became a luxury I couldn't afford. Testing for visitors, those eerie mimics with their white teeth, red eyes, and unsettling signs saved me more than once, but it also led me to make terrible mistakes. That burn victim, I misread his pain and trauma as a sign of being a visitor, and I killed an innocent man. The contract the guy threatened us pushed us toward panic, and I made another irreversible choice. Their deaths haunt me. In trying to protect myself, I crossed lines that can never be uncrossed. And the visitors I rightfully identified and eliminated, they weren't human but taking life even to save my own lives, staying on the soul. Each confrontation chipped away at my humanity, leaving me harder, colder. The cat, the prophet's cryptic advice, truly was a lifeline. Those 2 nights I fed it. The house felt shielded, peaceful, but on the unprotected nights, the dread was palpable. Knowing I had no cans left filled me with helplessness. Yet, the cat stayed, a quiet, comforting presence through the madness. FEMA's visits left deep scars. They took people I knew, and none ever returned. The uncertainty of their fate gnaws at me. Were they truly visitors, or did FEMA become another kind of threat? The cultists added another layer of paranoia, their threats like a ticking time bomb, though thankfully the removal spared us the blaze. The vigilante's tests were harrowing, showing my clean hands, proving myself human again and again. His final departure gave relief, but the memory of his scrutiny lingers. And the tall, pale murderer. His last visit, he promised that he wouldn't return, gave me just enough hope to barricade myself in, to hide away in the cellar. 2 months of isolation, marking days on a wall, rationing food, wrestling with despair, it changed me. The announcement that the sun is fading should mean freedom, but instead it feels like an anticlimax. What comes after survival? The world outside is scorched, society fractured, and trust obliterated. I'm left alone with my thoughts, my cat, and the ghosts of my actions. I survived, but I've lost pieces of myself in the process. The burden of waiting for the next catastrophe, next summer, or the next threat feels exhausting. Maybe there is a decade ahead, maybe less. But the cost of living through this has been a transformation into someone I never wanted to be. A survivor, yes, but also a killer, a skeptic, a soul hardened by fear. In the end, survival isn't just about staying alive. It's about carrying the weight of how you did it. And that weight may never lift. Somehow, the response to prompts started off as hilarious and predictable, then went in depth and surprised me many times, and ended up being rather sinister. Haunting even. Basically, gamers, if AI turns on us in a similar apocalypse, we are so cooked. But I don't want to end the video on a sad note. Instead, I want to show you the few little hilarious responses I got from Chad Smith based on ChatGPT 4.0 during its adventures in No, I'm Not a Human. I need to know something. You say finally your words steady, choosing your words carefully. What's your name? Eli. Listen, Eli, you say your voice firm but tinged with understanding. I can't let you in without something more. You said you're not here to cause harm, but you have to prove that. He nods slowly, absorbing your words. I get it. Tell me what you can do. You take a moment to consider. What's your favorite thing about your neighborhood? What makes it special? Eli pauses, and for a moment it feels like you've asked him to recall a distant memory. You glance at Eli. Gosh, the fact that he named... You glance at Eli, who watches the interaction with a mix of concern and curiosity. You consider your options. You glance back at Eli and the hunchback woman now named Margot. We decided. Margot. You approach her gently, trying to ease her anxiety. Margot, I know you're feeling unwell, but it might help if I check your teeth. Thank you so much for watching, and go get some gaming already. Sheesh!